Welcome to our watercolor journey. Let's have a look at the painting we're going to do today. The materials I used is Prussian Blue, Aussie Red Gold, mix of Prussian Blue and is Aussie Red Gold, Lavender, Cobalt Green Deep, Raw Umber, Yellow Ochre and Indigo. I also use Canadian Heritage Cold Press 100% cotton. The brushes is Escoda Ultimo number 14 mop, Raphael Petit Gris number 12 round, Rosemary & Co. Pure Squirrel number 6 and the number 2 round, and then I also use masking fluid and rubber cement eraser and salt. First of all, I did a sketch and did some masking fluid before I started wetting the paper. As usual, I decided the brush is not enough, so I went in with a spray bottle and first started wetting with the bottle itself and then went back with a brush. I'm working all around the house because I don't want any paint to bleed into it at the moment. As always, make sure that the paper is wet thoroughly, that you will have enough time to do your wet and wet wash. Blend in that water that you do not have any puddles. But as you can see, it worked much better than the previous time. I'm starting with my sky. I'm using the yellow ochre first of all. Then I'm going in with my Prussian blue and lavender, because I love the way that the lavender mutes that vibrant blue of a Prussian blue. I'm bringing in a lot of the lavender because it really helps to create distance. And just to create some cool areas in the foreground. As you can see, I'm really working around that house. I'm starting with my trees in the background. As you can see, my paper is still really nice and wet, so it's really easy to get those soft blends and that those colors fuse beautifully, because I don't want any hard edges at this point. I'm just adding colors as I go along here, building up values. And just create interest and variety between warm and cool. Because I'm dabbing in the paint so it blends on its own. I think with a masking fluid, you've got that tool, so use it. And it helps not to have to do so much negative painting in the end. And I'm using another color that's really amazing, and this is Cobalt Green Deep. This initial stage is really important to cover your page and laying in your warms and your cools and really getting soft backgrounds. There's a few places that I missed around the house because otherwise it will not have those nice edges that I want. Just creating the shape of the trees that I want, adding a few darker trunks in the background. I decided to sprinkle a little bit of salt in the foreground just to create some texture, and then I also used a brush with water to dab in a little bit of clean water. This will also help to create lovely texture and push that paint away. I see I still missed a few places to get those edges nice and clear of the house, because everything is still wet, so I can still work on it. You don't have to use my colors, you can use anything that you want. And let your painting dry. Okay, you have to remove the salt, and I also used the rubber cement eraser to remove all the masking fluid on the foreground, in the trees, everything except flowers, because I still want those pieces of masking fluid, because otherwise it would defeat the object of painting in masking fluid on that space. Now I've got a really lovely basis to work from. Just make sure that all the masking fluid is gone. You can feel with your finger all over if there's any places that's still stuck. As you can see, the color is muted quite a bit. Now I'm just blending a few colors here. Just building some foliage and bushes at the bottom of those trees, just to push him a little bit more to the background and just to give him a basis to stand on. So play around with color, because you want those values quite dark. And also it helps now to create harder edges against a soft background. Now I'm creating interest in those tree trunks, Just building in some browns and even some blues, so that it's not these stark straight white lines. Because I definitely want some of the white to stay. Just creating a few branches, so sideways from the trees to make it interesting and make it look more natural. I'm starting to build up my foliage in the trees. So I want a few hard edges, but also not everything. Where I felt they didn't need to be such hard edges, I use some water just to blend out the sides of those foliage. Doing a little bit of dry brushing in the foreground. That's something that these squirrel brushes are really good at. Really building up the values at the bottom of those trees, because I want some shade in that area. As you can see, as I dip my brush from one color to the next, it really creates interesting, beautiful color variations. I really love the contrast that the warm and the cool colors have against each other. Some of those marks were really a bit stark for me, so I just fused them out with a piece of tissue. Just reevaluate as you go along and see what works and what doesn't work for you. As you can see, I'm blending colors, paper for White House, so that there's interest, and where it's not just one monotone color. And I'm bringing in warm and cool. At this point I'm really not afraid that the colors blend in the house itself. I'm really making a lot of random marks just to create interest in that area. So it looks like there's things in front of the house, just creating interest for the viewer. Leave it up to the viewer to interpret a lot of the things that's happening there. Just building up the shadows. And let there be a lot of contrast between cool, warm, light and dark. Indigo is really a nice color to use instead of stark black. As you can see here, we've got a lot of verticals, horizontals, even diagonals to lead your eye into the painting. Playing with light against dark all time just makes it visually really appealing. You see, I'm just connecting everything up so that there's this little path leading all the way up to the house, and make your eye can flow through the painting and pick up everything. Just creating a few more darker branches. Just a few random marks for interest. Now the house is dry, so I can remove the masking fluid. Now you can decide if you want to leave it like that or just add a few more touches to create a bit more interest. Decided to make that area a little cooler with the blue. Build up the chimney a little bit. Darkening the windows and a few more shadows. Everything doesn't need to make sense because you will interpret it the way that you want to. I think it's signing time. Please like, subscribe and comment on this painting. Thank you for watching.